Oh, the CJ and the Yak have the same engine.
Same engine. We could pull this engine off this airplane and put it on our Yak 52.
Gotcha.
We could pull the propeller off the Yak 52 and throw it on the CJ here.
So how does the compressed air work to make it start?
So in the Eastern Bloc, both Russia and China made the same decision on how to start the airplane. So in the West, we've always used electricity. We use a battery, either 12 or 24 volt battery, and a starter just like on your car. And the starter gets, when you turn the key, it starts this electric motor or the starter going, and it throws out a thing into a gear, a smaller gear into a bigger gear, and that turns the engine over and, gets the cycle going until the spark on the engine hits, and then the engine starts running. In the East, and I've been told in Russia in particular, where it's cold, now China doesn't have as much of a cold problem as Russia does, but batteries in the cold don't work very well. And so they went with compressed air. So they literally have a round ball with compressed air in it. And I don't know what something like 3,000 pounds, but it's in bars, and I don't really know the conversion.
Yeah, I don't know how bars work either.
But it's barometric pressure anyway.
Yeah.
So, some compressed air in there, and that's the energy. So we use our electrical energy in a battery, and they use compressed air.
Gotcha.
In the potential energy of compressed air instead of the electric energy.
But they have to feed air to it, like take an air hose and...
Well, so just like we have to charge a battery.
Right.
So there's no free energy, right?
Yeah.
So you either run a compressor and pump the air into that cylinder. This has an air compressor built into it.
Oh,
so
it's on board.
So when the engine's running, it builds air, but if that air bleeds out, then you have to fill the tank back up.
Gotcha.
So we keep a scuba tank here for that purpose.
Oh, because we can't use a regular air compressor.
Well,
take special air.
You could, but you're not, like our shop air compressor isn't going to build up that
high.
So we have a small high pressure air pump, air compressor, that we charge the tank on the airplane with. And then you just open a valve and let that high pressure air go through air pipes into the cylinders, and it pushes the pistons down in sequence and gets it spinning. So it uses the energy of compressed air instead of electrical energy.
Gotcha.
And then once the thing is running, the air compressor and the back of the engine here recharges the tank. And you've got, I don't know, 2 or 3 tries to get it started before you're out of air in the tank.
Sounds kind of annoying.
Yeah, frankly, I prefer the electrical method, but if you run your battery dead, you got to recharge your battery, and it takes a charger and electricity and all to charge your battery. And on this, if you run out of air, well, then you got to get a compressor and put the compressed air back in and use that energy. So, it's, and this was also done in military service to train pilots out of military base where they had all kinds of infrastructure and people available to keep track of that, and they didn't have to worry about batteries and electrical motors for starters, because this doesn't have an electric motor. The brakes also work on compressed air.
Oh, it works like a semi-truck.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of hydraulic pressure, this doesn't have hydraulics anywhere on it. That's another...
Oh, it's all
compressed air.
Oh, even the nose gear is air?
To retract the gear is...
Well, is that hydraulic shock or no?
Well, I mean, that's not an air system.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all the shocks do have an air, they are compressed air, but you just fill the shock. But that's not charged by the engine system. So the flaps on this run by pneumatic pressure, the landing gear runs on pneumatic pressure, and you start the engine with pneumatic pressure. All those things on most Western airplanes are done with hydraulics or electricity.
Oh yeah, and hydraulics don't work the best in the cold.
Well, pumps, I don't know. I've never heard of hydraulics freezing because it's an oil.
Right.
But you've got a pneumatic system on your airplane, why not use it? So it simplifies things,
and then adding multiple systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like our T-34, this served the same purpose in the Chinese Air Force as a T-34 did in the U.S. military. It has an electrical system for the starting. Of course, it also has electrical for the radios and the lights and all that.
Right.
But it had an electrical system for the starting, then a hydraulic system for the flaps and the gear, No pneumatic system at all, because we just didn't go that route. And this simplifies it, takes those two systems and turns it into one, and you don't have a big heavy starter anymore. You do have an air tank and a compressor, but those are just the trade-offs that they made, and technologically they found that to be enough of an advantage that they went with it in both China and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And I must admit it does work.
Have you flown it yet?
I've done the ground training on it, but we've only got this a while ago, and we really haven't gotten any of our pilots,
Okay.
but one, trained up on it.
Yeah.
And so I haven't flown it yet. I've done the ground school and went out and taxied it around because it's really quirky. It uses compressed air for the brakes and a grip on the stick. You pull a little handle on the stick and it grabs the brakes.
Oh.
And then if it's in the middle, the stick's in the middle and you pull it, it activates both brakes. If you go to the right, it activates the right brake, which makes the airplane.
Makes it.
So the right side would stop and it would turn left, and you go the other way, and then anywhere in between, it's a balance of the two. So it might
Right.
one more than that one. So it's quirky to learn how to taxi it.
Yeah.
And now once you get the hang of it, it goes just fine. But on Western airplanes, we do all that same thing using our feet on the tops of rudder pedals. And so you taxi or what I'd call a normal airplane by rudder right and left, and then tap the brakes on the top for
course.
braking. And this one doesn't have toe brakes at all. It's all just on a grip on the handle. So
Yeah.
that's a quirky thing about it.